Hi everyone, my name is Nancy Chen and I am an investment director in Livingbridge's Value Strategy Group. As part of our Spotlight series on inspirational female leaders within our portfolio, I'm very lucky to be joined today by Mel Chapman, who is the co-CEO of Jungle Creations. Hi Mel, how are you doing?
Hi Nancy, I'm doing well. How are you?
Good, thank you. It's so lovely to be able to speak to you today. Would you be able to start just by introducing yourself and kind of talking a bit about what Jungle Creations does?
Yeah, absolutely. So yeah, as you said at the start, my name is Melissa Chapman. I'm co-CEO at Jungle Creations. So I've been at Jungle Creations pretty much since day one, back in 2015. And Jungle Creations, for those that don't know, is a modern media and marketing business built for the social age. So when we launched the business back in 2015, we built a number of brands on social. We have brands that sit in various different passion points. So we have Twisted, which is a food and drink brand, BT, which is kind of mass news entertainment, 49 for female interests, and so on. I guess across the last 7 years, we've built up an audience of 130 million followers. That's across Facebook, Snapchat, Instagram, TikTok, you name it, we're probably on it. And yeah, I guess we have a dual model where we operate as a publisher from these media brands. So that's creating both video and editorial content that we're distributing to global audiences, receiving billions of views every single year, which is amazing. What that enables us to do is to work with a range of incredible clients where we'll create branded or custom content. So for instance, Bailey's will work with Twisted over a year period to do integrated Bailey's recipe videos, for example. And then I guess as a means of operating these brands and just the vast wealth of insights we're able to unlock and the understanding of these audiences on social, we launched The Wild, which is a end-to-end social creative agency where we work with clients not living on our brands, but leveraging the insights from our brands to help them with their own brands on social. So yeah, but by and large, we're social experts and content creators. So that's kind of a whistle-stop tour, if you will, of Jungle.
Fab. And look, it sounds like you were with Jungle since the beginning. It would be really interested to learn a bit more about how you sort of decided to join social media publishing as an industry and how you kind of got started.
Yeah, well, I was very early in probably the social media publishing space. At the time, I think the industry was in its infancy very much. You had BuzzFeed over in the US that were kind of leading the charge in the space, but beyond that, I think there was ample space and opportunity for new players to come into market. So I met Jamie, who was our previous founder actually, when I was at university. I was studying journalism, so I've always kind of had a passion for storytelling and communicating to audiences. And I think I felt there was a huge opportunity for innovation in the social space. So joined Jungle when there was just kind of two of us in a room. We managed to scale our audiences very quickly. And then the industry grew around us, which meant we were always kind of able to be at the head of the curve, have great relationship with these platforms. And the business's shape has changed a little bit throughout the years where opportunity is kind of knocked, which has taken to us where we are today. But it definitely wasn't one of those when I was in high school that I knew that social publishing existed and eventually I was going to end up in here. It all happened quite naturally and organically, and feel quite fortunate that it did land that way for me. But yeah, when I told my family and friends that I was going to be taking a job at Jungle, having to explain to them what social publishing was, you did get a lot of kind of eye rolling. And I think now social has very much over-delivered beyond what everybody expected it to, and the trajectory for it is astronomical into the future as well.
Yeah, I mean, it's there's been amazing growth at Jungle, and it's obviously been really exciting. I mean, you talk a bit about starting as kind of two people in a room, and the business is now very different and much larger than back in those days. When you think about having grown and sort of scaled Jungle over that period, what kind of approach did you take, and what were some of the challenges you faced along the way?
Yeah, I think in terms of how we've unlocked scale, it's kind of twofold really. People and process have been core to that journey. So being able to build an incredible team. We're a business around storytelling, therefore it's all about creativity. So that sat at the core of our ability to be successfully and grow successfully. And then process has been, I think, something probably in the first 1 or 2 years we would have rolled our eyes at it and said, come on, let's just get moving. But you get to that critical point in the business where you really need to make sure operationally you're structuring that process into your business. And I think we did that quite successfully at the right time, which meant, we weren't one of these media businesses that profit feels like a myth that doesn't exist. And we were able to, successfully mature the financials of our business as well. And then beyond that, I think through the nature of the space being quite new and our approach to it, we weren't wedded to archaic ideals of how, a media business should operate or a traditional publishing company should operate, which meant we were allowed to be quite agile and move very, very quickly, which again was, I think, crucial to underpinning the success we've got to today. And yeah, we've gone from those 2 people in a room to, over 100 people now in multiple offices across the globe. So it's been a ride.
Yeah, it's very different. And look, it's super impressive, and what you and the team have achieved is amazing. And I know that you've obviously got a number of industry awards as well under your belt. When you think back over the development of kind of your career, have you faced any sort of more personal challenges in that development?
Yeah, I think naturally, I think it's twofold. One, generally being a leader of a business today, I think the demands on leadership have shifted quite dramatically in quite a short space of time. And when I talk about that in our instance, it's having a millennial Gen Z workforce and the expectations associated to that. I think it's not enough anymore to be a leader that just drives good financial results. You have to make sure that you're building the right culture within your business. You're creating an environment where people want to come to work. They look forward to coming to work. Those Sunday blues are a thing of the past. And it's as much about your P&L as your conscious capital, and all of the business initiatives around diversity, inclusion, belonging, and so on. So that was something that I couldn't really look to a previous manager for guidance on, because I don't know businesses were putting that much of a priority on it as little as kind of 7-8 years ago. So that was having to learn as I went, and the way that I think we were able to do that successfully at Jungle was consultation. We speak to our employees really regularly. We have a number of employee resource groups who are constantly kind of helping us shape the way that we structure our business. And actually we have a parenting ERG, and they were part of the consultation on our new parental leave policies and so on. So really having the employees drive the place that they work at, which has been amazing for things like retention and recruitment, which is of course an important part of a growing business as we're scaling really rapidly. So that's one part of it. On the other part, I think, our crossover into the advertising world, does mean that it's still quite male dominated at the top. I think especially in the more senior levels, you still see kind of over-indexing for male representation, if you will. And I was thinking about this very recently with International Women's Day. I think at the start of my career, I felt the need to almost be a chameleon and adapt to the room around me and speak the same language and laugh at the same jokes and almost temper my personality slightly to kind of fit the majority of the room. And as I think I grew in confidence in my own career, I realized actually I was holding myself back by doing that. And it's only been, in the years that I feel like I can bring my authentic self to work and not worry about, am I being too emotional about this? That I've been able to see new heights of success, because ultimately it is my belief that it's our differences, whether that's gender, sexuality, race, in a room that is a part of our value, because, it drives change and it drives progression. And if it's the same people in the same design, having the same conversations, how does a business move forward? So that was a big thing for me, and challenges that I personally had to overcome, because it does take a level of confidence, I think, and bravery to feel like you're in some way the minority in a room. And still, bring your authentic self to all of those conversations and decisions.
So if I kind of reflect on that, I guess if I was to ask you what sort of advice you would have for ambitious women out there looking to develop their careers as leaders, one of your biggest pieces of advice sounds like it would be actually just be yourself.
Yeah.
Just bring who you are. Don't try to, become someone else.
Yeah, and I get it's definitely to some extent easier said than done.
Yeah.
And if I think back to kind of critical moments or certain meetings where I've had that internal dilemma of, do I feel like I'm always the one that goes against the grain here, or am I, becoming the difficult person in the room? I remove myself, from the situation and think, okay, how would I feel if my sister came and asked me, am I being, should I say what I think here? Or, one of my female colleagues that I've got loads of respect for, if it was them asking me on a friend level for advice, I'd say absolutely be yourself, and that is your value, and your empathy is part of your value, and so on and so forth. So yeah, if your autopilot makes you second guess yourself, try and step out of that, and imagine yourself giving advice to a woman that's important to you, and give that to yourself if you can.
Yeah, I mean, that's a really, really great way of kind of thinking about and articulating it. And it sometimes it does feel like you almost have to be the role model for yourself, right? Because you're going to be the role model for yourself and others.
This is it. And I think I've also felt that, I remember 3 or 4 years ago, as a gay woman as well, I was often getting suggested to be on panels about LGBT representation or female representation, and I almost shied away from them and thought, I don't want to be defined by the fact, I'd rather, does this take away focus of just the work? Why is the conversation always about the fact that I'm a woman or a gay woman? But actually, I feel like I feel a sense of responsibility to represent that voice, because I'm fortunate enough to be in the position that I am, where you do have some influence. So kind of leaning into that a little bit more as well is something that I've kind of had to get used to and really wrap my head around as the journey's gone on.
Yeah, no, makes sense. And look, just one last question from me. What are you sort of most excited about for the future?
Working with Livingbridge, definitely.
Of course,
definitely up there. Great team. Well, look, from a business perspective, we're on, I think we've got a phenomenal trajectory. We're really excited about the landscape that Jungle's sat in, the natural growth in the social space, and kind of the way that social is not a part of people's destination, where it's usually the starting point. If I want to go to a restaurant, I'm probably going to check it out on Instagram. I'm not going to go www. anymore. So that positions us professionally in a really exciting space. I think beyond that, albeit it took a lot of learning, I think the shift that has happened in businesses and employee well-being being a priority more than it ever was before is a brilliant thing. And I think the new generations, Gen Z, that are coming into business as well, albeit their demands are higher, I think when you can create the right environment, the entrepreneurial spirit in a lot of young people is amazing to see. So yeah, I'm very optimistic about the future of work from a Jungle perspective, and also just the media landscape as a whole. I think it's all going in a very, very positive direction. So I'm excited about that.
Fab. Well, thank you so much for taking the time to speak with me today. It's been wonderful having a chat. And yeah, just, onwards and upwards with Jungle. Exactly. See you soon. Thanks.
Nice one. Thanks, Nancy.